A new technology is arising that promises to be able to scientifically measure the general content of a person's thoughts. Along with this technology, since it involves the intimate details of someone's thoughts, there are going to be a lot of ethical issues. From the start, Ryan is going to look at the scientific standpoint of whether the studies from the laboratory are overarching enough to cover a diverse group of cultural populations. And Tate will then be going on to the exclusion of the effects of environment on the results and whether over a person's entire lifespan these results from an fMRI can remain accurate as a person changes. And then we'll also look over the larger ethical themes, mainly with Joe, with the privacy of the data and the use of the data, and to what extent it should be used. And then from there, also related are the issues of self-regulation and governmental regulation that's going to occur from the privacy issues. Now we'll go over by Kristen.
We believe that the use of MRI for the purposes of lie detection, behavioral characterization, or evaluation of mental capacity involves numerous unevaluated factors that could potentially affect test results. Factors stemming from the subject, such as the individual's cultural background or native language, could have drastic effects on the mental response evoked by particular questions. In addition, factors stemming from the wording or phrasing of a question, as well as factors stemming from the setting or potential consequences of an interview, could also have effects on the subject's emotional state, interpretation of a question, and therefore their resulting brain activity. Until long-term studies are done with diverse groups of individuals in realistic settings, one cannot rule out the possibility of biases against certain individuals and settings. To base decisions such as school admission, healthcare coverage, or even lie detection in a court of law on a system with potentially unseen biases is simply careless and unethical.
Although it is human nature to try to categorize things, it is impossible and infeasible to try to categorize human personality. Human personality will change throughout your lifetime. Biological anthropologist Dr. Helen Fisher states that the environment is the most fundamental determinant of personality. Your environment is anything but the steady-state idealistic world necessary for a constant personality. Examine your own environment. How has it changed since you were a child, a teenager, progressing now into your adulthood? Your personality will change. It has not stayed the same. How does fMRI account for this change? Will you be reevaluated at regular time intervals? For this reason, we feel that fMRI can not be used to continue the data theft from your skull in examining your personality.
Thought authentication technology constitutes a clear and severe breach of individual privacy, a right that our Supreme Court has upheld countless times. Now, this technology would shift the realm of analysis of character tests from what one actually has done to what the test thinks you will do. As insurers, employers, schools, and other entities begin to take this test up in greater and greater numbers, it will become increasingly difficult for people to secure the basic needs for the modern American way of life without submitting to this gross invasion of their personal privacy. These cases strongly parallel cases involving genetic analysis that came to the forefront of ethical issues nearly 2 years ago, when Congress was debating whether or not to protect the rest of the United States from discrimination based on genetic test results. They decided overwhelmingly to do so, 514 to 1. We should do the same.
In addition to data privacy and further research on the testing results, we are also concerned about biases that may be involved in the companies that are doing the fMRI as well as the recipients of the results. Since there's profit involved in the results, the companies may be quick to assure their clients that the results are accurate. The implications of allowing companies to advertise and use their product without further investigation leads us to concern. After all, the fMRI results will label people, and these labels will stick with them for the rest of their lives. Therefore, if fMRI should be used, the testing should be regulated. Experts who have backgrounds in psychology and imaging should evaluate the results. And also these evaluations should be done by third parties so that the biases can be
The
negligible.
rising technology of fMRI not only has applications in the medical field, but also has extensions into private and government applications of lie detection and personality trait characterization. As Ryan and Tate discussed, there are clearly some issues when moving this device from the medical field into the psychological field as far as the studies go. The question of whether they are broad enough to cover over cultural boundaries and also over a person's entire life. And also, in addition, the moral aspects of the technology and the use of the data will lead to regulations that are going to be very complicated and do not bode well for the eventual adoption of fMRI as a valid technology.